Coupling returns in tax cycle allows the software to automatically optimize calculations between the principal taxpayer and their spouse or partner. Let's walk through the process step by step. First, you will want to ensure that on info worksheet of principal taxpayer's return, the marital status is set to married or common law. This status is crucial for tax cycle to recognize the relationship and perform accurate calculations between the linked returns. Now, there are several ways to couple returns in tax cycle. One method is by pressing F5. Alternatively, you can click the taxpayers drop down from the sidebar and select Add Spouse or Partner. Additionally, you can go to the Home menu at the top and click on Switch to Spouse or click on Taxpayer and then add Spouse Return. Here I want to mention if I scroll it down and then you can see that I have some of the information already added in the spouse section for this principal taxpayer. And as soon as we click on creating a new return for a spouse in this file, it will take all that information that you have filled in here. So we will go ahead and click on spouse name. Here we have two options. If you have not yet started the spouse return, select create a new return for spouse and then click OK from the dialog box. TaxCycle will guide you through setting up the spouse return within the same file. On the other side, if you have already initiated a return for the spouse in a different file, you can select open an existing return for a spouse. You can then browse for a file to add spouse return to the principal taxpayer's file. A critical point to note here is that when adding an existing file, TaxCycle will ask you to confirm that you wish to delete the old return when coupling, which is recommended for organization and accuracy. And then afterwards, you can simply click on Yes to complete the process. However, here we will click on Create a new return for spouse. And here we have spouse return created. You can see that the information that we had for spouse on the info worksheet of the principal taxpayer's return, it has auto-populated to the spouse return. And you can go ahead and fill out the rest of the information for the spouse. From the left-hand sidebar, you can see the spouse return is created because there is no plus sign anymore. And you can also switch between the spouse using the F5 shortcut key, or you can switch between the spouse return and the principal taxpayer's return from the sidebar as well. Before saving the newly coupled file, make sure to enter the spouse name, and any necessary information that is included in your default file naming options. This step ensures that TaxCycle generates a file name following your preferred naming convention, keeping your files organized. Should you ever need to separate a coupled return, it is a straightforward process. You can click on Detach from the Home menu at the top, and TaxCycle will guide you through the uncoupling procedure. Coupling returns simplifies the tax calculation process for couples, but more importantly, it provides the most accurate tax calculations and best way to gain tax efficiencies in those instances where couples can share or transfer deductions and or credits, or where they have a joint accounts or income streams. If you have a situation where you don't want to or cannot couple the return, you would instead prepare the return separately and complete the Schedule 2. And you can get to the Schedule 2 worksheet right from the spouse section, or you can use F4 and then you can type Schedule 2 on there. And that's where you will enter the spouse information. This can be a situation where your client have a non-resident or a party or resident spouse. And that's how you will create coupled return in tax cycle.